Hi guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see of this title, I'm going to talk about my very first novel. And it's very exciting. I've been really thinking about in what language I should film this video because my book is really in Dutch. And all of you are English, but I didn't want to make a video with loads of subtitles. Call me lazy, call me whatever, but I did really want to make this video in English because of what I'm going to talk about later. Nonetheless, I hope you guys will still love this video as much as I'm going to film it. I'm a bit nervous to talk about this topic, but it is exciting. It's really exciting. So yeah, basically the idea of my very first novel began with a dream I had back in November of 2015. And I had never been to Amsterdam before, and I had a dream about Amsterdam. I think I dreamt about Amsterdam because I had bought tickets for a Dutch YouTube convention which was called Veed. I don't know if you guys saw the vlog, but it was fun. But yeah, I think it was Veed that actually got my mind rolling about Amsterdam. So I dreamt about Amsterdam and I was a princess. Of course I was a princess. Oh. But I was on a boat. I was on a I thought it was a big boat, but thinking back of it, the boat was in the canals of Amsterdam. And those aren't that big. I've seen some of them when I was in Amsterdam, but they really aren't big. But yeah, this boat was going through the canals, and I remember looking at all the green and all the flowers and all the trees and all the people in Amsterdam. And somehow that was so incredibly magical, and I was still dreaming, of course. And so yeah, on this boat I had a boyfriend, but this guy, he really liked me, and then he did something. What happened in the book didn't really happen in my dream, but in this dream I got scared of that person, and I ran away to find my little brother. I don't have a little brother, I have a little sister. But I went to find this little brother and he hid me underneath a staircase, like Harry Potter. And that whole time I was in that, yeah, during the whole dream I was in that cupboard. And I was under the stairs, and it was so weird. It was very light, but it still was very big, like more like a Swedish, Norwegian room, but then very small. Yeah, very small. And I remember hearing a voice, and it wasn't a familiar voice at all. And I remember coming out of that cupboard, and my little brother, I don't know if he was there, but I got out of the space, and I saw a little girl and I saw a big man, and that man was supposed to be my dad. And the dad had someone with him, and I think the dream ended there. All I remember that the girl had brown hair, just like me, just like the main character, and I don't know if I woke up then or it was just the end of the dream. I had a pretty dreamless rest in the night, and yeah. It's kind of weird. I've never talked about dreams this much. I don't even think I told my mom about this dream. I sometimes do tell my mom and sister about the dreams that I have, but I don't think I told them about this one. And this one actually inspired me to write a book about it. And it's just already I could say I'm getting emotional from it, but if I think really hard about the fact that I wrote a book about a dream and I had just the motivation to keep writing it, makes me think I did it. Dreaming is good. Everybody should dream, daydream, whatever, night dream. And I actually wrote a book. I love writing. I wrote a book, and yeah, so yeah, it was really weird because I'm just skipping forward a bit, but I had a dream and I started to write a book about it. And I have my phone right here because in the beginning I I have been putting off filming this video for a week now because I just didn't know how to start, and I really wanted to tell you guys about it. As I have told you, one of the dreams on my wall is actually publishing a book. My goals for 2016 actually. So I wrote it all down on my phone so I just could look back to it. So yeah, it started with the dream on the boat, but then I just didn't really know what I wanted to happen. I wanted to have this boat, and I wanted to have Amsterdam in it. I wanted to have another princess in it. And I'm not a pantser like everybody says, when you can easily suck stories out of your thumb. It's a Dutch saying. I don't know if it's English as well. Maar just een verhaaltje uit je duim zuigen. And that just means that you can easily come up with a story that isn't true. I wasn't like that in the beginning. I think I was like that in the beginning of when I wrote fanfiction. But back when I wrote this, I wasn't a pantser at all. But I wasn't a person A either. A person A is someone who that person outlines a lot about the book. It writes everything down. And I didn't have a rode draad, as we say it in Dutch. I didn't have a red line in the story of how I wanted my book to go. All I had, I wasn't really brainstorming, so maybe I'm a pantser, somebody who sucks stories out of their thumb. But I had some things in my mind that I really wanted to happen. But somehow I created a list of, I think it was seven big plot points, and I wrote this big, yeah, actually that was my main red line of the story. But I didn't see it like that. It was just points of what I wanted to write upon to. This has gotta happen, so I'm writing upon that. When I had that, when I reached that top, I would write another top. Like you're walking around a huge mountain and you gotta go from A to B to C to D, all the way up to the top. But beside those bigger events, I also thought of smaller events that wanted to happen. I can say that this book is about, well, I don't want to spoil too much, but this book is about a princess, like I just said, and she has been, I don't know if you guys, I don't know how to say it in English, but her parents had arranged a marriage for her. That wasn't too hard to say. It's just, as you can see, it's really old school. It's old school. It's really, I wrote this book with my head being around about the 1600s. Yeah, the 16th century, somewhere like that, maybe the 17th. But yeah, there were smaller events that I really wanted to happen, consuming the fact that she had an arranged marriage. So yeah, all the small things about marrying, not that with the person that you're going to marry, the engagement, balls, and all the other things that have to be arranged when you're arranging a marriage actually. So those were the smaller things I really wanted to happen, but I didn't write them down. I just thought about them and had them all in my head. I didn't write the story out, I just had all of them in my head, except from the 7 points. I'm getting out of breath from just talking because I'm so excited to talk about this topic. Maybe over a year ago, I thought about a world and a story very similar to this one about the 1500s essentially. And I remember sitting at school and thinking and asking my friends, did you know when the fork was invented? Since when do the humans use forks? And it was so incredibly odd that even my teacher looked at me and said, I will look that up for you. My English teacher looked it up for me. And it was such a weird moment. Actually, most of this story actually started with the idea of a fork. Because that idea kind of mixed together with the dream I had. But it was so incredibly weird. I still have that document on my laptop and on my phone. I'm just going to look it up really quick. And it's actually called Middle Ages, but then in Dutch. So yeah, it's called Middle Ages, and it really started with how do you say it? Like the timeline of our human race, and like 200 years before Christ and such. And then other acknowledgements. The camera just got down, but and other acknowledgements were the fork was used since the year 600 before Christ. And then I got there are other certain things about marriages, like weddings and funerals and all such, and just the colors about the houses of like the important people. And I had written down how the people would earn their money as such, the weather and everything about this imaginary world. And I ended up not writing about an imaginary world, but I ended up writing about Amsterdam, about Holland, and Scotland and France. It's very weird that actually most of the stories started out with the fork. But let's get those points here. Back then, like in a year ago, when around that topic around the fork, I also thought of a few characters. I had names written down. I really had names written down everywhere, and first names, middle name, second middle name, third middle name, last name, and where they were coming from. So imaginary, made up towns and everything. Yeah, I didn't know how I wanted to call my main character. Her name was Freya, and her name kind of is inspired by Freya from the originals, but then again she's totally not, because she's not the same at all. And I also got the idea of calling her Freya from something else, but I'm sad that I lost my inspiration for it, of how I actually got onto the idea of calling her Freya. But I really love the name Freya. Freya, it just, okay, Femke. Femke also starts with an F, and Freya does too. So I really like calling her Freya. And then, yeah, what then happened? You could call me lazy. I don't care if you do. But I picked some of the characters from the idea that I thought about before, and I glued them or I stuck them in my book that I've written now. So in the document I had written down Freya's hair color and eye color and her age, and the same was her brother and her best friend, and from the prince she was going to marry, and the prince's sister, and who else? I wrote something else down as well. But eventually I picked that one, and from there I actually picked my characters. Some of them I gave another name, because some of the names didn't really make sense, and some of the other names that I'd given other people were more special, so I switched them. But I took some things I did take some of the things I had invented for the other story in this story, but it's all my own. I created all of it, and so it didn't really make any. I didn't think I was lazy at the time. I just thought, okay, I had made that up myself. I created that, so I'm just going to take it if I'm not going to use it for another story. And so yeah, Freya was born actually. She was born in my dreams, but when the words finally got on paper, she was born. The weird thing is, I started writing this book in English, and maybe it was because I've been making English videos. Maybe it was about I don't know, but I started writing. I think actually was because I had read a lot of English books. I'm just going to take that list right there. I had read Red Queen, I had read Paper Towns, Rosie Project, The Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, and around The Scorched Trials, a little bit, yeah, between The Maze Runner and The Scorched Trials, that dream came up, and because I read all of those books in English, I started writing my first novel in English as well. The first word in the book was her. Her, dun dun dun, dot dot dot. And I wrote the first chapter at home. I remember writing the first chapter at home. but all of the other chapters I actually wrote somewhere I shouldn't have written them, because I was, you can call it school, but it was something I had to do with school. I wrote most of that book on my internship while I should be doing their work. And I know that is bad, but that was in the beginning of my second internship, and the company wasn't really sure if I would be a great fit and if they had enough tasks for me to do. So when I wasn't really necessary or needed, I wrote down all my own stories, because in the beginning I only got the task of picking up the phone and something else. So that wasn't really hard to do, so I had to do something else, and I knew I couldn't read the news all the time. I went on three different sites of websites of reading news, and I shouldn't have been doing that. So instead I wrote a book. And I really wrote most of it in my internship, and I was just sitting behind the desk and I was just writing, and looking outside there was a window so I could see loads of trees, and I was on Pinterest at the same time to keep, I had made a Pinterest board of all of my ideas and pictures of things I had imagined in my head. So I have a load of tabs open with all different pictures, and I have on one screen I have the pictures, and on the other screen I have my Word document. So I'm just typing and typing and typing, and then the chapters came, and I had written one after the other. I really did write on a roll. I really was on a roll. I was so incredibly motivated, and maybe that was because it was written, I was writing in English. Because I don't think I would have been that motivated when I would write it in Dutch. But I wrote all of it in English, and some would say that's just plain stupid if you're going to publish it in Dutch. So guess what I had to do? I had to translate all of it in Dutch. And in the beginning that was a really hard job as well. I have a document of which I have my information down. Let me just get it. I made a blog, Small Town Studyblr, and I decided to change that studyblr to my writers, authors page, and it can't find it. Well, really. But in the beginning I wrote 64,000 words in English, and I had to translate them, all of them. And I have all of the information down here. It says that I wrote my first words in November 2015 after I got the dream. And then I ended the English version in February of 2016. Then I started translating them in March. I was really busy on my sister's birthday. But I ended translating all of it in April. And in April I also started my revising project, everything, and it started with 63,000 words in English and translated to Dutch around that as well. But I have already written maybe 240 words more. So yeah, writing comes really easily to me, and I know that not loads of people can say that, but writing really does get easy to me. And now I'm actually revising all the chapters, and I'm almost done revising my first draft. And I was so incredibly lazy. I'm saying it a lot in this video, but I really was so lazy that I printed chapter 22, 23 and 24. Yes, it was lazy to give my mom chapter 22, 23, 24. And I actually let her read through it and let her find all of the mistakes that I made. And I wasn't feeling anxious. I wasn't feeling nervous at all for her reading my book. And starting in the middle of the book, it wasn't weird. I have to say, it wasn't odd to have her read my unpublished work and my first draft of my book. I asked her, "Hey mom, what would you say if I asked you to read a couple more chapters? And she was totally fine with it. So I printed chapter 1 and chapter 2, 3, 4 and 5 and a little bit more, like the prologue. It really isn't the prologue, but still. I printed that and I'm waiting to give it to my mom so she can help me revise it. And so on the little ball is rolling and it's going and my mom likes it and she really wants to read more of it, so I asked her, hey mom, if I publish my book, would you still buy it or would you still get it? And she said, absolutely, just for having it. Just for putting it on my nightstand. So that was really heartwarming. But the revision time is going a little bit faster than I imagined because I'm going through it like loads. I do not find that much mistakes. I have to change some of the things. But now that my mom is reading it as well, it really is amazing that I still made loads of different faults, mistakes, and that is probably because I had to translate it from English to Dutch. And it's really odd because my mom saw a mistake and I didn't, and that just proves that I have to read more Dutch books. So I already know what Dutch books I'm going to buy next. And my cousin also gave me a few Dutch books, so I'm looking forward to read those and just taking a break from my own work. This video really is going to be a really uncut video of me talking about my book, and I already have 18 minutes going strong on my laptop downstairs, and then I'm talking again, so it's going to be a really long video. I'm sorry that you had to watch all the way through to here, but it's still going. And at the same time, I'm really proud for you sticking up with me. So thank you so much. But all I really want is to hold my own book in my hands. It isn't about the money that I'm going to earn. It isn't about the famous thing, and it isn't about a YouTuber also publishing a book. It's a dream of mine that I had since I was 6. I've written stories since I've been 6, and it's so incredibly odd, but I've been writing so much. I actually already am a published author. It sounds so incredibly weird when I say it, but I have this book. I have this small book of poems that we had to write at my primary school, and all of my classmates actually made one, and I made one too, and I think mine was about colors. The only thing that I really want is to hold my own book in my hand, because that is a really big dream of mine. And even though it's not going to be big, even though it's not going to be well known, I still get the pleasure from writing. I still get the pleasure from hearing my mom talk about my book, and I still get the pleasure from hearing my sister say, if it doesn't have pictures in it, I'm not going to read it. And that is really what she says. I don't know her. She will read it. I will make her read my book. What is a little spoiler that I can also give about my book? I can say that the Dutch book is a bit different from the English version, and that is probably because I had the outline a bit more advanced. I thought more about the plot, and I added a few things. I also left a few things out, and yeah. What else? I don't want to say her full name yet. I just want to say that the main character's name is Freya. And yes, it is a bit inspired by the Queen of Scots. And it's mostly going to be about Scotland and about France. I changed a bit about the names of the historical figures, but some of them really stayed the same, and that is probably because some of them I thought more fitting, and some of them I just found straight up boring. So that's just my own imagination that I can fix and do things about. But isn't it amazing how I actually got from dreaming in November, from having my first draft almost done in May. I wrote my first book in 2.5 months, the English version, and I translated it in 2 months, and I revised for 3 weeks. it just shows how much more motivated I am with writing than I am with school. Yeah. I'm just so incredibly motivated to always write, and it's a great outlet, and I think everybody should find their own outlet to, maybe it's singing, maybe it's screaming, maybe it's dancing, and maybe it's making YouTube videos, and maybe it's writing, and writing is great. It really is great. It's great for having your voice on paper. It's great for just letting stress out. Do I already have a cover theme in mind? I do exactly know how I want the cover to be, but it's not up to me, and I'm not that far in the publishing scene at all. I'm just writing, and I'll just see how I go from here, because that's not important, not now, and I don't think if it will be. To me, it's most important to let my family read my book, and maybe some friends of mine. I'm just so excited about the fact that I've written a book and that the sun is shining as well. So I love every one of you, and I'm so incredibly happy that all of you like to follow me every Tuesday. And yeah, and listen to this long ass video. So I think that's it. I think that is how I wrote my very first novel. I have no words left, I really don't. I have this huge smile that's actually burning on my face. But yeah, I think I'm just going to call it a quit. I will see you guys very, very soon. I will see you guys Tuesday. I think it's going to be Tuesday with another video. I still have to film it. No, it's not. No, it's not. This video is going to be on Tuesday. So I will see you guys Thursday or Friday. I started uploading on Friday instead of Thursday as an extra day as of a job I had, but it's over now. So after this month, and if there will be any more extra uploads, I'm going to upload them on Thursday again. But I will see you guys Thursday with the video I haven't filmed just yet. Oh, and also, I have another writing video planned, and it's prepping for NaNoWriMo, and I'm so incredibly excited. I can't even speak anymore. I'm really excited to film for NaNoWriMo because an old friend of mine, Lieke, and I are going to film. Her channel is Oudersprout, so you should check her out before both of us are going to film for NaNoWriMo. I'm just going to upload weekly, of course, but I'm going to upload about NaNoWriMo all month, next month. So yeah, spoiler, but I'm really excited for the next video and the next video, which is going to be a NaNoWriMo preparation video. But yeah, I hope you guys like that I'm going to upload another writing video in this month, because I didn't know what else. I wanted to upload this video instead, so 2 writing videos a month. I like it. I hope you guys do too. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy the sun. I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye guys. Thank you for everything.